Hello YouTubers, this is a Geek Must Have with a radio review of the Tongboxin Y-928SW. The SW is for shortwave, for just over 15 bucks. What can this radio do? Quite a bit. Watch the video and find out. I have an admission. I have an affair with radios. Ever since I was little, I loved radios. And then I met a ham radio operator by the name of Harvey Ernst, who showed me what shortwave was. Back then, there was no internet, no game consoles, no cell phones, so we listened to shortwave. I tried to get my ham license back then, but Morse code proved too difficult for me. So when the technician class license came along with no Morse code requirements, I was able to recently get my license, and my call sign is KD8VON. Kilo Delta 8, Victor Oscar November. I still listen to shortwave radio stations with some better equipment than I had when I was a kid. My main receiver is a Grundig S450DX with an outside antenna. Now, I have quite a collection of radios. Most of them recent purchases from AliExpress or eBay. Of course, all of them come from China, and there are some basic differences between American and Chinese radios. Here are some of my observations. They're inexpensive, 14 to 50 bucks. Most have Bluetooth, most have a way to play MP3 files, either through a micro SD card or a USB stick. I'm thinking this is due to a lack of intellectual property law enforcement. I'm pretty certain everybody in China just pirates music. The volume controls operate backwards from what we're used to, which is inconvenient, but after the 10th or 11th time of blasting the shit out of somebody, you learn. The BL5C battery is the rechargeable battery of choice for these radios. I swear there is a contest to see who can put the most amount of functions into a radio. And I pretty much always laugh when I hear the heavily accented female voice going, "Power on, Bluetooth paired." Only few of these radios are actually good shortwave receivers, and the retro look is back. As a computer person, I looked at all the radios and all the features and said to myself, this is a database. So I created a database with all the functions, images, and links to all the radios that I will review, and I'll put it somewhere where everybody else can get to it. The link to the database and the radio receiver report will be in the description below. While the database requires Microsoft access, if you don't have it, then the PDF report will serve just as good an explanation. Now on to the review of the radio. This is a very nice radio. It's an MP3 player as well. It's 11 centimeters or 5 inches wide. It's 6 centimeters high, roughly 2.5 inches, and it's about 2 centimeters or about an inch thick. And it has a really nice, solid feel to it. I'm going to do the radio test twice with this. Once with this built-in antenna that comes with it, a bad little antenna, and then I'll do it again with my massive 24-foot painter's pole antenna. There's no way to play this off of 110 volts unless you plug it into a USB charger. It does have a keypad, and the keypad is limited to just picking which selection off of the MP3 that you want. If you want the 16th song, you can key in 1/6 and go to the 16th song. It's a shame you can't use these buttons here to dial in the frequency that you want to listen to. The antenna is 9.5 inches long, 24 centimeters. Has an AM band and FM band. No weather band, no aircraft band, but it does have a number of shortwave bands, and it goes from 230 to 2100 kilohertz. There's no Bluetooth on this, but it does have a slot on the bottom here for a micro SD card. And it has a slot on the side here for a USB card if you want to play music off of that. Nice thing, it does have an aux in, which means that you can plug some type of other device into this and just use this as an amplifier. Only has one speaker, but it is like a 2¼ inch speaker. Has pretty good sound. The volume knob on it operates in reverse from the way we're used to using it. And I'm going to estimate this at about 5 watts worth of power. I can't find out exactly what the power rating is. It does have a headphone jack here. It has a small LCD display to let you know what whether you're AM, FM, or whether you're listening to USB. Doesn't have a flashlight on it. That's okay. And in the past, when I've scanned all the FM stations hooked up to a big antenna, it got to 30 memory stops that I could go to by pressing either the fast forward or the fast backward button. It doesn't have a sleep timer on it. It just plays. And the price on it was just a little over 15 bucks. Now let's test the radio and see what it can do. Has an on-off switch on the top. Cycles through a little display there.
Set for summer during Macy's July 4th. Save big with our because it's all about entertaining outdoors.
So when you press the M button, it goes through the modes. So there's the AM band. There's the beginning of the shortwave band down at 230 kilohertz. And FM. So I'm going to extend the antenna all the way out and press the scan button. And when it's done scanning, then you can go through the presets by clicking in either the fast forward button or the fast backwards button. The radio does remember the preset stations even if you turn it off and turn it back on. So it picks up quite a few stations. Some of them aren't good reception-wise, and you could ignore them, they're kind of staticky, but all the same, it does pick up a lot of stations on the FM band. While I was filming this video, I figured out how to use the keypad to tune in a shortwave frequency. The trick is to enter in all 4 digits of the frequency that you want. So let's say we want 7 megahertz, which is really 700 kilohertz. You would enter 7,000. And it goes to that frequency. Then you can use the fast forward button to scan for available stations from this frequency forward. You can also use the back button to scan backwards from that frequency to look for stations. Now I'll scan the shortwave bands using the built-in 9.5 inch antenna. And the reception isn't great in the lab due to all the equipment and the Wi-Fi signals that are bouncing about. The scan function acts just like it does in FM scanning. Any signal which is strong enough will be assigned to one of the presets. So, what radio stations got caught? And we have 9.33 megahertz. And that looks like the only station the scan picked up with the standard built-in 9.5 inch antenna. Now I'm going to redo the FM scan, and I'm now hooked up to my 24-foot painter's pole antenna that I have just outside of the lab, and see whether there's any difference in the stations that get picked up. Let's see how many radio stations we got with the outside antenna. Well, we got 13.84. Pretty good reception. 15.82. And 9.33. So with an outside antenna, we get reception of a couple of stations. Not bad, but not great. Let's test the MP3 player functionality by using a USB stick. And it knows automatically that it's been plugged in. And you can use the keypad to pick a tune. I want the 12th one. Goes right to the 12th one. And go to the 20th one. So if you pull the USB out and plug it back in again, it remembers where it left off at. The micro USB slot is on the bottom. And when you plug it in, it picks up and remembers. Here's my summary. This is a very nice radio MP3 player. The shortwave radio is pretty much useless without an outside antenna. It was very nice that I discovered how to use the keypad to tune in the radio. It's pretty loud and has some good bass, and I attribute that to the 2.25 inch speaker that's in it. For $15, I'd buy it as an FM radio with an auxiliary amplifier and an MP3 player. But spend a few bucks more if you want shortwave. If you were entertained, learned something, or maybe laughed just a little bit, press that like button. It helps me. Leave me a comment with suggestions, requests, or even criticisms. I try to respond to any and all comments. Show your support by subscribing to my channel. Every subscriber I get makes me smile just a little bit more. I have a personal and channel goal to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. Please, be one of those subscribers. I have a companion blog at geekmusthave.com where I ramble on about all things technical. Stop by and visit me. My email address will be in the description below. Send me a message if you want me to look at something special. Thank you and have a good one.